Hi guys, XYZ, and this installment of the Good and the Bad, I'm going to talk about an old-time favorite of mine, which was AirBlade. And it was developed by Criterion Games and published by Namco. Essentially, AirBlade is a futuristic skateboarding game. I guess the best way to put it is kind of like taking Tony Hawk's Pro Skater and giving him hoverboards and kind of making this game into a story mode. I mean, it's a pretty interesting game. Kind of got into it because a friend told me it was pretty decent, so I decided to give it a shot. And little fun fact, this is actually the spiritual successor to an old Dreamcast game known as Trick Style. So let's check out the good and the bad. Well, in terms of the good, there are a lot of redeeming factors for Airblade. I mean, for one, you have the sound design, which I usually don't talk about sound design in gaming, but this one's not too bad, you know? It has a weird mix between rapping and guitar, so it sounds weird at first, but it actually works out for the best for the game. You also have the different game modes, and besides story mode, you also have freestyle mode. You have a score attack, a stunt attack, which basically is kind of like Tony Pro Skater, where you just go around completing missions. And then you also have the multiplayer stuff, so you and a friend can compete against each other to see who's better than who. And with that, there's also the whole control scheme for the game. Essentially, it just rips off Tony Hawk completely, since it has the same type of control scheme. So like X is to jump, squares to do flip tricks, circles for grab, triangles to grind. So essentially, if you played a Tony Hawk game, you pretty much know how to play Airblade. Well, in terms of bad, there are some questionable things. Like, for one, I said the control scheme was pretty simple, but so too are the moves. And by that, I mean you can't do advanced things like reverts or manuals, so you have to rely a lot on grinding to get yourself some long combos. And it kind of works and it kind of doesn't. It just really depends on the level itself. And speaking of level, that brings up the second point, which is the whole level design, which well, I guess it's kind of bland to say the least. It just seems kind of simply thrown together. And weirdly, there are some spots where it's just nothing but like bare ground, so there's nothing for you to do. And for the most part, it just seems on the small side comparing it to, you know, I guess stages in the Tony Hawk series. So there's not really much for you to really explore. And then there's the whole issue with the story mode, which is supposed to immerse you in the experience of Airblade, but honestly, it's like the exact opposite. It's kind of turning me away. I mean, the problem is the story mode is just pretty short, pretty shallow, and honestly forgettable. Which is kind of funny because on the back of the case it says features an awesome mission-based story mode, and really, the story mode is about as awesome as reading a newspaper. Well, there are a couple of things they could have done to make the game a lot better. I mean, for one, is to expand on the current level design. Maybe make the levels a lot bigger to give us more, opportunities to do different things. Or at the very least, maybe give us more levels because as of right now, there's only 6 levels altogether, and technically you can only skate in 5 of them. If you do like freestyle or anything else. So it's not really much variety. So I kind of wish they'd throw in some additional levels, even if they weren't in the campaign or the story mode. That would have been pretty nice. I guess also improve on the story mode, and by that I mean like making it pretty good in length, because what we have is just an hour tops of a story mode. Say also maybe give us more objectives to do than what we have in the story mode right now, because it just repeats and kind of gets monotonous after some time. And also maybe give us an engaging story. I mean, what we have is pretty lackluster and felt like it was put together in like last few weeks of development. I'm not really sure what type of story you could make in a game like this, but I know there's a lot of variety and options to go with this. It didn't have to be as blind as it was now. Well, overall, I say Airblade is a pretty decent game. It does have a lot more good than bad weighted to it, and for the most part, I say it's at least worth a rental, for first time playing. And with that, I would give it a final score of a 6.5 out of 10. It does have some charm into it, which I think you'll find, and Yeah, I'd say it's a pretty decent game for those who are into like skateboarding or extreme sports. This is Devon XYZ, and until next time.